Welcome to the August block of our Baskets of Fun Block the Month. You can make a 10-inch or 5-inch finished block. For this month's block, you'll need 4 fabrics: a light, an accent, a dark, and a medium. The pattern for both sizes is located at the end of the video. For now, it's time to cut. From the light fabric, cut 1 square that is 5 inches by 5 inches. Bisect it once, corner to corner, for 2 triangles. You'll use one of them in the block. You also need to cut 2 rectangles that are 2.5 inches by 6.5 inches. Cut 5 squares that measure 3 inches by 3 inches. You also need 1 square that measures 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. From the accent fabric, cut 1 square that is 5 inches by 5 inches and 1 square that is 3 inches by 3 inches. From the medium fabric, cut 4 squares that are 3 inches by 3 inches. From the dark fabric, cut 1 square that is 5 inches by 5 inches, 2 squares that are 3 inches by 3 inches, and 1 square that is 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. Bisect the square 1 time, corner to corner, for 2 triangles. I'm also making the 5-inch finished block. Here are my tiny pieces all cut and ready to sew. First, we're going to make all of the half-square triangle blocks. We're going to start with the 4 medium 3-inch squares and the 1 dark 3-inch square. Place the light squares on top. Make sure right sides are together. Now you can either draw a line corner to corner so that you have a line to follow to sew a 1/4 inch away on both sides of the line, or you can use your diagonal seam tape to help guide you to doing the same thing. Once you've sewn on both sides of the center line, 1/4 inch away, you're going to cut them apart, and then you're going to cut on that line. There will be 2 that are the light-dark combo and 8 that are the light-medium combo. Press all of these towards the darker fabric or away from the light. Use the same technique with the 3-inch dark square and the 3-inch accent square. Once you've sewn a 1/4 inch away from the center line on both sides, you're going to cut it apart, and then you're going to press towards the darker fabric. Now it's time to head to the cutting table. We will need to trim each of the half-square triangle blocks to measure 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. I like to use the block lock ruler to square these up. The channel on the back side keeps the seam in place and helps make the cutting more accurate. If you're enjoying our Baskets of Fun Block the Month, we hope you'll remember to hit the like button and subscribe so you won't miss any of the future basket blocks. We're going to do the same technique with the 5-inch squares, the 5-inch accent square and the 5-inch dark square. Make sure right sides are together, sew a 1/4 inch away from the corner to corner center line. Once you've sewn on both sides of that center line, you're going to cut it apart and you will have 2 units. Only one of these units will be needed for the block. Press towards the darker fabric, and then it's time to trim this unit to measure 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches. I think I have these block lock rulers in every size they make. They're so handy. We will be using 1/4 inch seam allowances for the rest of the piecing. Piece the small dark triangles onto the ends of the 2.5 inch by 6.5 inch light rectangles. Make sure that one triangle points left and the other triangle points right. You will want these units to mirror each other. Press towards the darker fabric. Now it's time to start putting all the pieces together to make the block. Lay your block out exactly as I'm showing you. Make sure that you have all the triangles pointing the correct direction. All of the accent and dark fabrics, for me that means the red and the green, make up the basket portion of the block. The medium fabric, for me it's the pink, make up the contents of the basket. We will piece together 2 rows that have 4 blocks in it and 2 rows that have 2 blocks in it. I usually start sewing sets of 2, and then when I have them sent through the machine, I just keep sending them through the machine. And then when I get the 2 sets sent through, then I'll cut them off the back side to make the long set of 4. Just keep double checking that you're sewing the pieces correctly with the triangles pointing the correct way. You'll be fine. You've got this. Once you have the rows sewn together, it'll be time to press. Press all the seams in one row in the same direction. We're going to alternate which way you press. If you press correctly, when you go to sew all the rows together, the seams will nest and you won't even need to pin if you don't want to. First, we're going to sew the 2 rows of 2 blocks together, and then we will sew on the larger 4.5 inch square to the right side of the unit. Press the seam to one side. It doesn't matter which way you go, either side will work. Both of these units should measure 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches. You're going to sew them together and then press towards the larger triangle unit. If this is the first basket block you've seen, check the description below for a link that'll take you right to the 2023 Baskets of Fun playlist. Now it's time to double check that you have everything facing the right way and sew the rows that have the 4 blocks together. Now it's time to press. I will be honest, I used a little bit of Mary Ellen's Best Press Spray to help this lay a little bit flatter. It's got a lot of seams in it. We're going to sew these 2 units together. Make sure that you've got the seams matched up here. Those seams should nest together. You probably won't even need to pin. Now it's time to press. You can press either direction. We just have 3 more seams until this block is finished. Now it's time to sew the rectangle units to the adjacent sides of the pieced square. Make sure the small dark triangles form the base of the basket. Piece on one side at a time. After you piece on a side, you're going to press towards the rectangle unit before you add the other side. Once you've pressed this last side on, you're going to trim off the excess on the bottom of the basket. So you're going to take a ruler, you're going to cut from the corner where the white is to the other corner where the white is and cut off all those little excess triangles. Now all that's left to do is to piece the light triangle to the corner and then press towards the corner. Then you can trim as necessary to make sure that your block measures 10.5 inches by 10.5 inches. This one turned out pretty good for me. I hardly had to trim off any at the very end. And as I've been sewing my 10.5 inch block, I've also been working on my 5.5 inch block. So 10 inch finished and 5 inch finished. So here are both of the blocks, big and small. The tiny pieces on the 5 inch one were so fun to work with. So here are my red and white versions and also my Christmas versions. And that is block 8 done. We have 4 more blocks left to go. For a downloadable version of this pattern, look in the files section of our Facebook group called The Quilted Forest Friends. Or you could take screenshots and print at home, or push pause and take notes. Thanks for watching and happy quilting. We'll see you next month.